It's another live episode of Money Changes Everything. We would like to welcome everybody back. We have a very special guest, Charles Young Jr. Is here with us today. And before I get into this, because you're going to want to hear what he has to say, this is a young man who is phenomenal. Okay, I've watched him grow up, and he's just a phenomenal person in developing into a heck of an investor and businessman. So we want to really get into his thoughts on a couple of things. But before we do that, I'd like to remind everybody that one of our partners is Assurance Title. Now, if you're thinking about going out there and investing in real estate, of course, we want you to call us here at Keys Today. However, Assurance Title is one of our partners, and they can break those numbers down and make sure you're getting into something that is actually going to be profitable for you. Don't let emotion control you when it comes to investments. You got to look at the numbers. And Assurance Title, our partner, they're going to help you with that. So there are links in the description. We'll also put some more information up about how you can get to a special calculator, especially designed for investment purposes. So you can check that deal out, make sure it makes sense. Assurance Title, we thank them for partnering with us. So let's get right into this. Charles, how are you?
I'm good, good. Thanks for having me.
Oh no, man. I appreciate you coming on. Now, of course, I've watched this young man literally used to drive his training wheel bike up and down the driveway, and it seems like just like that, he's graduating from University of Maryland. So, Charles, I'll let you go ahead and elaborate on, your experience, and I really want to know what interested you in business. Give us a little bit about your educational background and some of what you're doing now.
Okay, great. Yeah. So, I'm a recent graduate from the University of Maryland, College Park. And I was majoring in basically in finance and international business. And so, while I was there, I did things that kind of attuned to that. I was into kind of personal financing as well. And so I joined a club that was called Collegiate Financial Management Association. And basically what they do is they kind of help with personal financing and helping students kind of understand that, kind of making budgets, like the simple things like learning how to invest. So we would bring in speakers, send newsletters and things like that, do workshops, try to just help people understand, just the basics of the small things, just saving money. That's the biggest thing. And because a lot of college students don't know what to do with their money, especially when they first get out. They just know they have student loans and they have to pay them off. So I kind of did that. I did a little bit of kind of just organizing event planning as well. I was a part of another organization called All Eyes LLC. It's actually a small business now. And so what we did there, we promoted events. Of course, like we like to have parties and things too. But we also actually did a lot of fundraising, community service events. Just trying to actually, what we did was we actually served mostly the minority crowd because we understood that, there wasn't as many services that kind of reached out to us, as far as, I guess, just events and things like that. So we wanted to be on the University of Maryland campus and kind of help people out and be like, hey, that's All Eyes. We can do events with them. So we also did a lot of professional development events as well, where we brought in people from like LinkedIn or people that had their own companies and things like that they were working on. So that was pretty cool while I was there. So that's kind of the things that I was doing while I was there, but I can go into professional experience too if you want me to.
Well, I just want to point something out at how you guys basically, because we know college for a lot of students is also about, having a good time, getting out there partying. And it sounds like you guys developed a way to actually monetize that.
Yes, we did. Yeah. So that's kind of the biggest idea, I think. And I'm actually a business partner of that organization now. It's still on campus and we're actually branched out. We're at UMD and at UMBC.
Wow.
And so, yeah, we monetize that. We use that as kind of a driving force, like the parties idea. It's coronavirus now, so not a lot of parties going on. But, we're trying to just help with social media and things like that now. But yeah, we basically kind of like the idea is to, I guess, create an atmosphere on campus, right? Like the biggest thing is trying to create an atmosphere and trying to get people more involved, especially minorities, like I said. And so we kind of had that idea, and we wanted to monetize it, but also help people as well.
Excellent, excellent. That's the key. I believe if you go out there and you find things that people are in need of or they want, and then you develop a way to actually provide them with that service with some value around it, and
Mm.
then you can monetize it. And I think that the environment today is just rife with opportunity. And even more, like you said, you're expanding beyond that one campus, right?
Mm.
Going into others. The opportunities out there today are truly global in nature.
Yeah.
Now, I know another thing about you that's very interesting, and I, have talked to your dad, and you are, you got. If I had half of the golfing skill that you have, I'd
Yeah.
be very happy, man. I'm out there, you know. I wish I could say I was like Happy Gilmore, but I'm not even close to him.
Yeah.
But tell us a little bit about that and what you might hope to do around that sector
Mm.
uh, in monetizing that piece as well.
Yeah, I mean, golf is a great way to network. Number one, but number two, like well, let's just start over. I love golf. Like golf has probably been the biggest thing in my life ever since I started when I was 7 or 8 years old. So um, that is like my world right there. Not to mention the Masters is coming up. So that's fantastic. But but yeah, I mean, as far as golf and business go very hand in hand. You're always networking on the golf course. It's very easy to understand who you're working with as soon as you finish a round of golf with them, right? You're spending 4.5 hours with a person, right? I mean, you know exactly who they are once you get done. If they're just the type of person that's just like, oh well, something's wrong with this person. They're just a fanatic, or if they're a really nice guy that you want to do business with. For me personally, I understand that. I understand how business goes hand in hand with golf, and how networking does that as well. But I personally also, along with business, actually want to do more of my own thing with golf. Like I am a competitive golfer. I want to be a professional golfer, technically. So I mean, I do this business stuff. I'm very much into finance and things like that. But I also very much want to be and do things at a professional level too. But for the purpose of this conversation, like business and golf go very much hand in hand.
Now, you just mentioned something extremely important, that networking aspect of it. And we all know that, it's not always, in fact, it's seldom about what you know, and it's oftentimes more about who you know.
Yeah.
And being able to develop those relationships in that atmosphere on the golf course is something that has been done for a long, long time, and many deals have been made out there. And we're not telling any fibs or exaggerating the case by saying that Black males and females have traditionally not had access to that form of recreation, and thereby have missed a valuable component in being able to network. So you started at a very early age. What advice would you have? Because, they say in a lot of other countries, soccer is so popular because all it takes is an open field and a soccer ball, and you can get a game going and develop skill around that. Pretty much the same with basketball. Just find a court and the ball, and you're good to go. But golf is the barrier to entry is a little higher in terms of greens fees, uh, clubs,
Yeah.
all of the things you need, the instruction.
Mm.
So, what advice would you give to people about how to become involved in golf and how to be able to maybe affordably transition into a game like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it always starts at a young age. I think number one, if you have kids or something like that, like get them started. Get them a starter set. Those aren't a lot of money. We're not talking about the ones that are like thousands of dollars. We're talking about maybe 100, maybe two. And, and sometimes you can even find them at, at retail shops that are used, for even discounted price more than that. So if you're just trying to get into it, or you can just buy a couple clubs. All right, you're just starting. You don't need anything crazy, right? You need maybe 3, 4 clubs, and that's it, right? And so I think the biggest thing is just trying to get in there. Don't be afraid. Like, do it, right? And that's the big thing about investing, right? Don't be afraid, do it.
Right.
but yeah, golf is really like that. And then there's a lot of public courses around in Baltimore and the surrounding areas as well. Just find some buddies. I know a lot of people have buddies that that play golf, but you might get invited, but you never want to go to the outing because you don't know how to play. Just go, have fun. He's your buddy anyway. You might as well go and network with the people there, talk to them. You never know who you're going to meet. That's why I always tell people, you never know who you're going to meet on the golf course. So yeah, just try it and go and do it.
Good advice. Good advice. Now let's transition and talk more generally about some investments, your strategy. But before we go there totally, let me ask you, what was the catalyst that sparked your interest in investing?
Yeah, that's funny. Because when I first went to college, I was business undecided. So that basically means I was in the business school there, undergrad. But I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had no idea. I was just like, okay, well, I'm here. But for the first 2 years of college, usually you're trying to get all your prereqs out of the way. So it's not that big of a deal. But I will say that what I understood was that I needed those hard skills. I needed those. I already kind of had the soft skills. I was able to, my parents taught me at a very young age to be able to look someone in the eye, talk to them, and be able to do those things. And so what I needed was more so the hard skills that I thought would be very transferable and concrete, in the real world. And so that's what I did, right? I majored in finance, and junior year I actually got an internship with Morgan Stanley in Baltimore, where I worked with the Treasury Capital Markets team, providing unsecured funding to the whole firm. That was a great learning experience, great resume builder. It was fantastic. I loved it. And so I would say it's just like what I got into it because I just realized that it was something that I needed to add, like, to myself. I honestly, I didn't think that I was all that great at it. I mean, I think people usually want to go and do things that they think they're the best at. I mean, honestly, I think that I'm probably better at networking and having those soft skills than I am really doing the hardcore finance work. Exactly. So I mean, I think getting out of your comfort zone was really big for me, and understanding, like I will always have those soft skills, so why not branch out somewhere else?
I understand. Okay. Okay. Now let's talk about your strategy. We've talked, I've seen you along the drive, and I think I mentioned options and
Hmm.
talked to your dad, and I know you were involved in that to an extent. Have you developed an investment strategy as of yet? And if so, what is it?
Yeah. I'll talk a little bit about that. No
Uh-huh.
problem. Actually, I think the biggest thing, I tell people, my friends, this all the time. Hey, you wanna if you like it and you want to make a little bit of money, you gotta learn it, right? You can't just jump into it, right? You have to read it. You have to read the Wall Street Journal, New York Times. You have to listen to those podcasts. I always recommend Robin Hood Snacks, or um, uh, I think it's another Wall Street Journal one out there too that I listen to. Um, and then just watch TV. It's on TV too, like it's on all day long. I mean, you can look at it for 30 minutes while you're making breakfast or something like that. So I think just making it a part of your daily routine it should be good. It's like any other news, is pretty important. um, and then I think kind of just understanding, I like to invest long term, and I think that if you don't have somebody looking at your finances, then you need to be, or if you don't have someone like continuously kind of telling you what to do, you're not really going to have the time to like look over your finances all the time, right? Every single day. So you
Right.
need to kind of do more of a long term, invest long term, understand that the S&P 500 normally gives back 8 to 10% a year. and do what with that what you will, right? And then I think another thing that I also do is I always look. I think people kind of get it wrong with looking at different stocks. They like looking at businesses all the time, companies, right? They look at all these different companies and they kind of get overwhelmed and they're like, I don't know what to invest in. The biggest thing that you need to do, right, is understand that let's take it step by step. Understand what the industry is first. Let's look at good industries, right? Like per se right now, right? Industries that are going well. Cloud computing is going great right now.
Yeah.
ServiceNow, fantastic. Tech companies are doing fantastic. Facebook, Apple, those things, those are doing great, right? And then once you look at those industries, then you can take the companies that are doing well, right? That have those competitive advantages, right? And then you're like, oh well, those companies are doing well. I want to invest in those, right? And it doesn't hurt to also like the company too. Right? You want to always look and research and what they're doing and make sure you like them. So
That's very true. Yeah. That moral clarity piece is starting to play a larger role in investing, and I think it's helping to drive more positive behaviors uh, in corporations, more so than what we have seen in the past. Now, I do know that you said you've got to pay attention to what's going on in the world. I think that, and I want to see if your thoughts on this. If you look at a situation like what we have now with the shutdowns, which
mm,
has affected the airline industry
mm,
tremendously, and downstream, it has affected companies like Boeing, who they manufacture airplanes. So developing that mindset to be able to see a few moves down the chessboard and how something going on today in
mm,
the world, how it will affect a company or a sector. How does one, because I don't know where I developed that. It's been
yeah,
so long ago, I couldn't tell you how. But developing that intuition, what kind of advice would you give to somebody to be able to not just look at the event, but look at what the possible ramifications are that could affect a sector or a company and how you can profit from it?
right. I think that goes back number one to reading and looking at things every day, or reading and watching every day, or listening to podcasts. But I think that that just comes from being like doing it, right? Like don't be like I think it still goes back to you're never really going to learn until you do it, right? Like because you don't know exactly how, I mean, you want to be careful and you definitely want to do your work before you invest, right? You want to understand a little bit more about investing before you invest, but and talk to people, as many people as you want, but you also want to go ahead and put the legwork in yourself. You will lose money, but hopefully in the long run you're going to gain money, right? I mean,
Right.
there's no way else to do it but learning. And then I would also say that understand that unless it's a trend, it's not going to hurt the market too, or it's not going to hurt like a particular companies too much, right? Like one singular event might hurt the market for a day or a couple of days, but unless it's a trend, right, it's not going to like completely crash the market or allow the market to do very well. So I would also kind of differentiate that, because people kind of freak out. They put something in, they're like, oh no, the money's down today. It's like, yeah, it's down today, but look what happened over the last month, the last 3 months, the last year, and undertake that historical um, context and kind of apply it to what's going on now, and what you exactly want/need to do.
And I think it's also important to, wherever we can, as folks that have developed a competency in investing, to continue to kind of be evangelists where this message is concerned.
Mm.
The psychology of the market, where people will buy high and then they'll sell low when they should be doing the exact opposite. I always tell people, if your favorite retailer offered a 20% off sale, would you stay away from the retailer, or would you go there and try to find some bargains?
Right.
And so, the psychology it's interesting because it works in reverse a lot of times when we're talking about the stock market and other asset classes.
Mm.
But I'll go ahead and wrap this up with I want to know from you because where we are in the country, and I know the viewers are thinking in their minds, wow, this guy's sharp. Talking about you, Charles. And where did how can we push this type of mindset so that we are developing a population that is economically astute, okay, and can do things more productively with the money that they have, because we're facing some challenges here. I mean, look, I don't think that I'm going to be eligible for Social Security. I have not calculated that in to any type of retirement plan. If it happens, great. But I would say, and I think you know this, that you probably are not even not even thinking about it at all.
I don't think so.
Okay. So we've got to develop people and kind of help them with the mindset that they're going to have to do these things. Pensions, we've seen more and more companies get rid of those pensions. So it's really a self-directed kind of thing. And you got to go out and get the investment advice on your own or learn it on your own or a combination of both. So how do we get there? What are your suggestions for that?
Learn it earlier. Yeah, that's the biggest thing, right? I told you about my the club I was in, right? Collegiate Financial Management, right? A lot of there's no classes even in really many in college that say, oh yeah, do you want to learn about personal financing,
Right.
right? You should have that in high school, right? Like
Right.
there's no reason why kids should not be understanding how taxes work. Like I don't understand. I mean, like, to be honest, I really didn't know how taxes work till college, right? I mean,
Okay.
there is no reason why there shouldn't be more classes on it and more accessibility as a whole. There's absolutely no reason. Just understanding the basic, like budgeting, like I was saying, like compounding. People don't know what
Yeah.
that is, right? And so, yeah, I mean, it just goes back to that. And I implore, whoever hears this to maybe, go out and talk to your local politicians about it. I
Yeah.
mean, it's very important.
Excellent advice. Excellent advice. Now, Charles, did you? I believe you recently started up in the financial services business. Am I correct?
A startup?
The insurance company.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The insurance
Okay.
company. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. So, do you want to say anything about that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, that's very new right now. I think it's more so just selling insurance. Like I
Mhm.
said, I think I wanted to use more soft skills and hard skills. I think it would
Gotcha.
be good for me. So I think being able to use my network as far as golf and meeting those people really works well with me. And so I decided to go into insurance because that's a big deal, right? Being able to talk to people and being able to kind of adhere to people's needs, and then kind of on the back end doing the kind of hard skill work. So I mean, I think it really works well with me. And given my time at Morgan Stanley last year, I kind of understood that I didn't want to be behind a computer for 8 hours a
Okay.
day. And I'm not saying it was a bad thing. I actually had a great time there, a fantastic
Mhm.
time. I loved the company, but that just wasn't for me personally, right? So
Got it.
I think that being able to combine the two will be able to work well with me. Yeah.
Excellent, man. I really appreciate this, and I'm going to go out on a limb and make a request here that we do this periodically, if you don't mind.
Oh, that'd be great. Fantastic. I'd love to.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you again. This has been Charles Young Jr. He's a phenomenal young man. And just remember, you heard it here first. You will be hearing this young man's name in business as we go forward into the 2020s. So, again, thanks for listening. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button and then hit the bell icon. Share this information. I want you to share this particularly because it is vitally important that other young people be able to see this. People don't relate, 19 years not going to relate to me as much as they will to Charles. So let them see what this young man is doing, the phenomenal things he's out there accomplishing, so that they can know that these things are attainable. I'll holler at you later. Thank you for watching.